the small jobs I had left on the wing was installing the aileron, putting in the hinges. Now, Slick gives you hinges for the ailerons. These are the ones that come with the kit, and they're made of plastic and they're stiff and unwieldy. I personally don't like them. Some people might want to use them, but I don't. I, however, like these. These also come from Slick, and they have a pin. They are regular pin hinges. The pin is loose. You have to put it in. But these are much better than the ones that come with the kit. So I'm going to use 6 of these. I'm now going to show how I install this kind of hinge. When I put in the hinge, I have to find the middle, and a thing like this is a kind of parallelogram. Can give me the middle. I can use a pencil to draw a line if I want to. Another thing I can do is to just use this to give me a cut. So I use it to center the knife while beginning the cut, and then I can carry on. This is a sort of scalpel blade, number 11. An X-Acto blade would do the same job, and we have to go really the whole depth of the blade. You really have to be careful when you're doing this, because the blade is so sharp. It's very easy to cut yourself. Now I'm through here, so I use a file like this nail file. It's made of aluminium and very good for this. You push it in. It's really tight to begin with, but it will eat off the balsa and make room for the hinge. Now I can fit the hinge easily into the slot I've just made with the nail file. When putting the hinges in the aileron itself, it's just about the same, except that you don't go through. You just have to put a notch or a well, you have to cut down into the aileron for the hinge. So notice that I have not taken the double bevel to the aileron yet. I like to place the aileron, the hinges first. So again, I'm using this parallelogram to find the center. You can also just use a tape measure or some kind of measuring stick to find this center, and then we cut down into the aileron. Now I know that the hinge, like this one here, is about the size of the knife blade. So the length of the knife blade is the same as the length of the hinge. So when I plunge the knife blade into the aileron, I know that when I've reached bottom, when the whole of the knife blade has disappeared. There. Now I can use my nail file to open up this slot. I just have to be careful not to go through the wall of the aileron. Now I can fit the hinge into the slot. If it doesn't go all the way down, I just carry on with the nail file. There we are. Now I've got the hinge in the aileron, and I'll just have to do the other 5. Now that we've got the hinges in place, we have to put a double bevel on the front of the aileron. We have now the center line, because we've already installed the hinges. So it's easy to draw in the center line, and since the aileron is 6 millimeters thick here, we go half of that, or 3 millimeters, down on the outside of the aileron and make a line there. Now it's just a matter of running the balsa plane along this at a 45-degree angle until we reach both the center line and the outside line. And when we do, we've got a perfect 45-degree bevel. There, now just have to do it on the other side. One thing you might like to do to make the gap between the aileron and the wing smaller is to cut down about 1 millimeter or so into the aileron where the hinge is supposed to be, and remove material there for the center of the hinge. That way, when you place the hinge, the pivot on the hinge will be exactly on the center line of the aileron. Like this, it will drop down and the aileron will get this much closer to the wing and close that off, and there won't be any gap. Another way of doing this is to take your nail file and just file away a little bit where the hinge is supposed to sit. Again, about 1 millimeter or so, 1.5. In American money, it's a 1/16. There. Now, again, the hinge goes out of the way. One modification I like to do is here, where the horn for the aileron is going to be bolted to it. But the thing is, when you bolt a horn to the aileron like this, just the balsa, there is a tendency for the balsa to be crushed, and I don't like that, so I've got myself a few of these, 4 to be exact, and I'm going to glue them in place where the horn is supposed to be on the aileron, to prevent this crushing. So this is where the aileron servo is supposed to be. The horn is placed somewhere around there, and so I just mark roughly where the plate is supposed to be. Now I can remove the aileron. Make lines on either side, and then if I use this medium thick CA glue, I just put some down, I spread it around with a piece of balsa, and now I can take this piece of plywood, I put some kicker on it, lay it down, and it will bond immediately, and it does that so quickly that you can feel the heat of the glue through the plywood. Now the other one is here, and again I just put some CA glue, spread it around, put the kicker on the plate and place it on the aileron. And that's it. So now I know that the horns are not going to crush the ailerons. Here is a potential problem on the wing. We're going to have to put a servo down here, and the lead from the servo then goes in through this hole here. But the hole on the next rib is not in the line, it's up there. Why on earth, I don't know, but that's how they made it. So we're going to have to get the servo lead in here, up here, and then out through this hole here. Now how to do that? Well, you get yourself a nice string, light string, and you thread some of it through that first hole just to get it started, like that. Then you very carefully have some thread to hold on to. I'm going to just put it down here and then hold the wing there, and then I'm going to use a vacuum cleaner or a shop vac or something to suck the string the rest of the way. There it is, through. Now I just take a piece of tape like this and tape the string down here, and on the other end up here. Now we can use this to thread the servo lead through. Of course, we could have done this before we closed the top of the wing, but we didn't, and this is the easiest way to do it. Now I'm definitely not putting a motor in this airplane, so I'll have to have a dedicated receiver battery, and this battery I'm going to have to put somewhere around here. I'll probably have to take some material off F2 to place it, and then I'm going to have a switch like this one. Now the usual practice is to have this switch on the side somewhere and sticking out so that you can turn it on or off, but I don't really want to do that, and since the canopy is going to be fairly easy to remove, there's just a small rubber band that holds it down or something, and I can just lift it off and get to the switch, which I'm going to place here on this plate like this. So it's going to be a little bit fiddly to put it in, but I want to have it here. There it is, in a good place, and I'll try and fit it there. And here is the switch in its place. It was a bit fiddly getting it there, but in the end it capitulated and did what I wanted, and so on and off. The last thing to do before we cover this is to put in the aileron servos. It is not possible to put them in after you've covered, so we have to do it first. The type of servo I'm going to use is this. It's quite a small but powerful servo, and I'm going to put it down there. The instructions say to use double tape. I might do that. I might use hot glue. I have done. I have used hot glue on servos like this, and we'll see. But next time this will be stuck down here. Here are the servos, both of them glued in. I decided to use hot glue both under the servo and along the fasteners here. The reason being that if I ever want to take it out, I can by just heating up the glue with a soldering iron. The horn sticks down. I had to open this a little bit for it, but now it will be able to move. It probably won't move any more than this, but this is very good. Now I'll just retract the horn, get it out of the way, and the next step is to cover this with plastic shrink film. looking forward to that.